Boom! And welcome back to the Window Ledge YouTube channel. Now I know what you're thinking Window Ledge. What the hell, man? That was way too scary of an intro, and you know what? You're absolutely right. See, recently I've been doing research into how to be more scary. Now you gotta understand, I'm a gamer. The only thing scary about gamers is their scent, so I gotta think outside the box. So I thought, why not get a bit of inspiration from the scariest medium there is? Video games. There's nothing like the feeling of playing a good horror game. Like, films can be good if done right, but at the end of the day, you're just witnessing someone else's problems. In a game, that little goblin standing behind you is your problem, not mine. Now, I don't claim to have played every horror game, but I am a fan of the genre, so here are a few examples of how games can be scary, so get your notebooks out, get your quills, and relax. If you can, because that goblin just came back and he's like right behind you. Oh my god, you gotta look out, man. Alright class, our first case study isn't, you gotta stay with me on this one, right? Five Nights at Freddy's. In particular, we're talking about night one. And you gotta understand, it is almost impossible to lose on night one. You gotta be sitting comatose in your chair like Golden Freddy to even come close to losing, which is why it's a good example of my first point. Taking it slow. For the first couple hours of night one, pretty much nothing happens. You're just there in your little room, taking it all in. You see the doors to either side and the unlit corridors that go to them. You're sat there, just hearing the whirring and buzzing from all the electronics. You look at your cameras to get your bearings, and you can see them just standing on the stage, motionless. You'll spend the first few minutes just waiting. Your mind starts to stop thinking about the noise that Freddy's nose makes, and starts wondering, are they gonna jump out at me? Oh man, that's not good. Oh man, Bonnie's gonna flipping get me, man. But hold on. One of them's gone. Where'd they go? Oh man, I hope they're not standing right behind me next to the goblin. You frantically flick through your cameras to find out where they went. But now they're getting closer. You never see the animatronics move, just the result of their movement. And now you think that any second you're not looking at them, they could be getting closer. And now that you're looking at Chica, Bonnie might have infiltrated your office. Oh god, I'm closing the doors and sitting like Golden Freddy. This is how you create tension in a video game. The slow start and the sudden change of pace near the middle of the night is perfect. The unpredictability of what's going to happen is what makes it scary, which is why it's good that the first night is so easy. If you were to die straight away, you'd realise that the punishment for losing is just a loud sound and a Chica PNG. And once you know what the big scare is, the jig is up. You'll probably jump each time, but instead of getting scared, you'll just get annoyed that you have to go back to the start. After night 1 and 2, FNAF stops being a horror game and just starts becoming a resource management strategy game. But that first night is still a great example of how to build tension in a game. So what have we learned from our first case study? Well, it's important to take it slow. Don't show your hands straight away in order to build tension. Now, I've been implementing this in real life for years now. Whenever I open the door to anyone, I stand there for a few seconds, then throw a PNG of my face followed by a slightly loud sound, and it works every time. Then I stuff their body into a robot. Resident Evil is definitely one of my favourite game franchises, and while it isn't horror in the sense of trying to make you jump every 5 seconds, it does achieve it in a different way that I like to call empower the player. Except not empower, the opposite of empower. Unempower. Empowerment the player. When playing Resident Evil, you soon realise that the odds are stacked against you, but not in the sense of difficulty. Your gun takes like 10 bullets to kill a single zombie, and it feels like you're only ever given 9. A lot of the time it's less about killing the enemies, but rather running around them. But Window Ledge, that sounds pretty easy, I'm pretty good at running. Well yeah, okay, but let me ask you a question. How fast do you run in your dreams? Not very fast, and that's what playing these games feels like, to me at least. Ethan Winters can reattach his hands like he's made of Lego, but the second you ask him to run faster than my pet hamster, you've gone too far, and my hamster has been dead for about 400 years. But this is obviously by design, because when you're slow, you're stuck in that chase for longer. Like, if Leon had movements similar to Titanfall 2, the game would not be nearly as scary, though it would be fucking sick. And now because of the movement, getting past that zombie without it biting Mr. Kennedy's neck isn't so easy. And man, what I wouldn't give to be that zombie. If you've played the older games, you'll know that it's even worse. Like, you have these tank controls that mean you can't move and look around at the same time, really emulating that dreamlike movement, making things way more tense. So Resident Evil makes things scary by giving you limited resources and slow movement. But now, I'm going to talk about one of my favourite sections from any of the Resident Evil games. The dollhouse from Okay, maybe not. We're going to talk about apart from Resident Evil 7. Now, this is the first Resident Evil game I had played, and it was terrifying. It had a great intro involving some like found footage style gameplay, which I thought was really, really cool. And I've just come off the bat of fighting this horrible mold monster, and I'm thinking to myself, thank God that's over. I hope that isn't the common enemy for the rest of the game. The inventory is tiny, you barely get any items, and the house is just gross. Every hallway feels imposing, and then I turn to see this. I turn the game off at this point. Now I know what you're thinking, window ledge. My boy, that is a door. And you're right, but it is just a door until you realise you actually have to go down there. I've been scared by the rest of the house, so I wasn't even ready to see what the basement, the winner of the scariest part of a house award for the past 200 years, I wasn't ready for what that had in store for me. The rest of the Baker household is lit with this warm yellow, but the stairs to the basement door illuminated by this harsh white, which just feels so out of place in the context of a family home, making me think, uh-oh, this is not good. And it's worse when you actually gather the courage to go down. Mold clings to the narrow hallways and oh god damn it, they are the common enemy. And I've just run out of ammo. Please, run a bit faster, Ethan. And then you find out, oh, this basement is actually a morgue. That's just great. I turn off the game and play Fall Guys. Every second I'm down here, I just want to be out. And when your only wish is to go back to the place, which is also very unsettling, this is how you know the game has done a good job in being scary. So guys, what have we learned from Resident Evil? Well, make the player feel weaker than they are to keep them in those tense situations for longer. Now, I've been implementing this for decades now. Whenever I see someone, I make sure to command my pet Victor to gnaw at their legs so they can't escape me. Isn't that right, guys? Yeah. You guys. Okay, class, we've only got time for one more case study, so I'm going to talk about the scariest game I've played. A little game called PT. Is what I would say, but it's been unlisted from the PlayStation Store for years, and the only way for me to get footage for it is from the Minecraft remake, and I wouldn't do that to you guys. So we're gonna have to settle for the second scariest game I've played, and you've got to stay with me for this one. Hear me out. Phasmophobia. In this game, you're a ghost hunter guy, tasked to enter haunted buildings in order to find out what type of ghost inhabits it. You're equipped with different ghost hunting tools like the EMF reader, parabolic microphone, and salt. Now, if you've played this game before with friends, you'll know that this game is actually pretty funny. Like, you've got the proximity voice chat, the player models do this, and you've got this sense of strength in numbers. But what happens every time where everyone starts dying and you're the only one left? I'm probably gonna die if I go back in there, and I don't want to lose my items. So yeah, I'm just gonna guess poltergeist and leave. All right, yeah, it's not because I'm scared or anything. You know, when you're alone and everyone else is just back in the van, you realize that this game actually is scary. So I implore you, try this game solo. It is evil. Unlike RE7, the house is just normal. It isn't covered in goop. It has a lounge and a gamer's room and a basement that doesn't contain a morgue. This sense of familiarity makes me think, oh, this is like the house I'm in now, that's cool. Actually, wait, no, that's not cool at all. Your character moves even slower than Ethan Winters, and might I remind you, pet hamster, dead 400 years. You aren't given a gun or rocket launcher, but rather a candle and a book. The worst part about it all is knowing that there's a ghost somewhere with you. Is it behind you like the goblin? Who knows? It's invisible, and the only way to win is to communicate with it with your equipment. It can throw objects, whisper in your ear, mess with the lights, and hear you. Like, hear your real voice. This game uses your microphone, so when you say how much you hate Donald Harris will hear you, and will remember that. This kind of fourth wall break, paired with the fact that you're playing in an environment very similar to the one you're currently in, makes it feel like the game extends beyond the screen. The ghosts are so unpredictable as well. They'll be in a different room each time, have different behaviors. In games like Resident Evil, every encounter is scripted, but in Phasmophobia, you don't know what you're gonna get. Meaning that even though I've played this game for 40 hours, I'm still just as scared as when I started playing. And what sucks is that I'm gonna have to record footage for this game, and I keep putting it off by making the script longer. The game reaches its peak when the ghost starts hunting you, causing the flashlight to flicker. You run to hide in a cupboard. You have the EMF blaring in the background, static from the spirit box, and the eventual footsteps getting closer and closer. I turn the game off and play Fall Guys. So what have we learned from Phasmophobia? Being a ghost helps a lot in trying to be scary. Now, I've been implementing this for centuries now. I'm actually the ghost of a 17th century boy who died in a horrific hamster accident. Rest in peace.